Good morning and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Friday, September 2nd, 2016.
Commissioner Repenning, Davis, and Jacinto are present. Vice President Repenning, we do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Khalil Garrios, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Kimberly Fitzpatrick, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Asad Al-Najjar, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Gary Harris, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Neil Drucker, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Vice President Repenning, we do have speaker cards under general public comment, no commentary under the neighborhood councils, and no speaker cards under the regular items.
Okay, I'll go ahead and close neighborhood council commentary. Under general public comment, I'll call Herman. Mr. Herman? Mr. Herman's not here. I'll go ahead and close general public comment. And that will take us to our first item of business, the approval of the minutes for the meeting of Monday, August 15th, 2016. Moved by Commissioner Jacinto, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Those minutes have been approved.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to our agenda. The first item on our regular agenda is actually a presentation. A presentation for Mr. Gregory Carter, 30 years of service from the Bureau of Sanitation. Khalil, go ahead and do the honors, please.
First, I would like Greg to join me here at the podium. Thank you. Good morning, Madam Vice President, Commissioners, Bureau Representative, Mr. City Attorney, and Mr. Executive Officer. Again, good morning, Khalil Garrios, Division Manager, Bureau of Sanitation. It was a great pleasure standing before you this morning to recognize Greg Carter's 30 years of exemplary service to the great city of Los Angeles. Before I start sharing with you the 30-year tenure of accomplishment that Greg provided to the city and its resident, I would like to first acknowledge and welcome his family, his wife here, and his daughter, and his father-in-law joining him to celebrate his exemplary accomplishment. Also, I'd like to acknowledge some of our staff that are here also to support him and to celebrate with him. I know 30 years is a long term to be working, so thank you all for being here to celebrate with Greg. Also, as a footnote, noteworthy footnote to Greg's career, Greg spent his entire 30-year service with one awesome, great bureau, the Bureau of Sanitation. He decided to start with Bureau of Sanitation, and he loves it so much, he never thought about leaving or going anywhere else. And personally, thank you for sticking around and then just give us all the exemplary service that you've given us for the last 30 years, Greg. Thank you. Again, Greg Carter began his career with LA Sanitation in March of 1996. He was hired as a refuse collection truck operator for the West LA refuse yard. Greg was the first of so many that took the first training class as an RCTO. Now this class is nationally recognized by everyone in the nation, and they come to learn from us how to train employees that we hire to come start working as refuse collection truck operators. In 1990, he was promoted to equipment operator at Lopez Canyon Landfill. That was the 6th year before the landfill was closed. He helped and he worked on several crews at Lopez Canyon. Then we had to officially close one of our landfill at Griffiths Park, Toyon Canyon Landfill. And he was instrumental working at Toyon to finally close and cap this landfill. He promoted to equipment supervisor at Los Angeles Recycling and Transfer Station, Clark. As you may know, we purchased this facility back in 2004, and we had no clue about operating a transfer station. So we asked for volunteers, and Greg was one of the first to step in and say, I'm in, I would like to just take on that challenge, and I'm glad he did. He was promoted to equipment supervisor. Since 2004, he's been doing a wonderful job supervising the crew, the late crew at Clark, and this operation has been wonderful with his leadership. During a 30-year career, he had received several commendations from your board, city council, and several organizations. When he's not working and getting all the challenges at Clark's, he enjoys spending time with his family, going to church, traveling, riding his Harley. You know, I always wanted to just, you know, experience that, but, you know, he never allowed me. His Harley is like one of his brightest moments, I guess. He appreciates also classic cars. You know, as you know, if you've seen his cars, he has a beautiful Mercedes, you know, exceptionally nice. So he appreciates all the nice cars too. So with that, I would like to read the certificate. Greg, in recognition of 30 years of employment with the City of Los Angeles, the Board of Public Works honor you, Greg Carter, Equipment Supervisor, as a mark of appreciation for loyal and efficient service to the people of the city, signed by all the Board of Commissioners and dated September 2nd, 2016. Here you are. Finally, speaking from experience myself, being a public servant for 30 years is a great and most satisfying experience. And then it's a great accomplishment too. And I'm sure you feel the same way, Greg. Congratulations on reaching this milestone, and I hope you'll have many more productive and healthy years to come. Thank you. Stay here.
Mr. Carter, do you have any remarks you'd like to make?
Yes, usually the end of something is the beginning of something else. I'm looking forward to my beginning. Thank you.
Okay. Can you stay at the podium? I think we're not done yet. He's like, I'm getting back to work. No, I just wanted to say congratulations on 30 years as we approach Labor Day, which is a celebration of workers throughout the world. I think that, you know, 30 years, I know the schedules that you guys keep at sanitation up extremely early. The dedication, excellence, and professionalism you have brought to sanitation. I think for me, the function, the role that sanitation plays in ensuring that our city is clean and safe so that kids can walk to school and grandmothers can go to the market and people can live in their neighborhoods in a way that, you know, that is the type of life that people deserve in our city. And so your role in that throughout these 30 years, I just want to appreciate, acknowledge, and we're looking forward to the next 30 with you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Colleagues?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes. I want to say to you, Greg, it's always an honor to recognize individuals who come here to the Board of Public Works and leave with us the memories that they have contributed the work to our Bureau. I have to tell you, you're very lucky when we look at Public Works in terms of all of the rate dollars that go through sanitation. I think that your career is an example of the many opportunities that exist in sanitation in particular. And as has been stated by those who work with you, you've been there your entire career. And so we are proud of you in terms of having been specifically there for 30 years, but in general, for working with Public Works. It is people like you that helped make Los Angeles a great city. And you look young enough to continue to do some other great things too. So many people would love to be in the position that you're in now, retiring and definitely benefiting from the fruits of your labor and continuing to go out into our community to do even more with the great contributions that you have made to our city. So I congratulate you, and I look forward to seeing your future contributions as well. Thank you so much for what you have done for the city of LA.
Thank you, Vice President Repenning. Mr. Carter, good morning, sir. I want to thank you for your presentation to your colleague, our colleague, part of our city family, and to see sanitation staff, LA San, and to see your family, your beautiful family there documenting this great moment. To spend 30 years with one bureau is outstanding. It reminds us of another all-star who'd spent his entire career with one team, and you spent your entire city career with one department, that you devoted yourself and you put in the work over a generation. That is just so outstanding. And I hope that you enjoy, the benefits and, the satisfaction, and that you help take care of the city. You help make it right on a very basic level. So I wish you great long life and all the things that you will continue to do, and to thank you for your service to our great city.
Thank you very much. And we will take a brief recess so that we can take some photos. Okay, I was able to clarify one point during our recess, which is Mr. Carter is not retiring. We're just acknowledging his 30 years. So he's not going anywhere. We're keeping him, and we'll see how many more we can accomplish. Moving on to agenda item number 1. Bureau of Engineering, Bureau of Contract Administration. This item is recommending that the board, number 1, authorize the city engineer to issue and advertise the transmitted requests for qualifications to geotechnical and environmental consultants. Number 2, authorize the staff from the Department of Public Works to evaluate and pre-qualify the respondents based upon the requirements and procedures set forth in the RFQ. Number 3, authorize the city engineer to negotiate a personal services contract with each of the highest rated and most responsive firms. And number 4, direct the city engineer to report to the Board of Public Works with his recommendations on executing the negotiated contracts. We have with us Easton Forcier from the Bureau of Engineering. Did I pronounce that right?
You did. Good morning. So the history of our on-call list, we've used it since the beginning of the early 90s, approximately 25 years. And what it does is allows us the ability to provide quality services on a timely manner for public works projects as well as other projects to other departments. And it essentially serves three functions. Primarily allows us to augment or extend our staff during periods of heavy workload. It also allows us access to specialized equipment that the consultants have. An example would be like a specialty drill rig or something. And it also there's projects that come up where we require technical expertise. They're usually more complex, or there's a legal mandate associated with it. So those are essentially the three functions that the list would serve. The timeline we're looking at would start on December 2017 to 2022. It would be a 5-year contract. We plan on having one list with approximately 10 consultants on it. So it'd be one list to include both geotechnical and environmental consulting services. The assignment of work would be through the city's virtual, through BAVN, Business Assistance Virtual Network. And prior to receiving the SOQs, or a statement of qualifications, we plan on having a pre-proposal meeting up in the upcoming weeks. Our selection process is outlined. I'm not going to go through all the geotechnical environmental services. They're listed in the board report. But our evaluation criteria is comprised of 5 consultants' qualifications, experience, expertise, the personnel qualifications, experience and expertise, the technical approach, project management approach, and then and compensation. And each one is based on 20 points, cumulatively adding up to 100. Respondents with the highest SOQs will be shortlisted and called for an oral interview to further assess their qualifications. And then in addition, after the selection progress, the respondents are required to perform a business inclusion program outreach, and they will be highly encouraged throughout the course of the contract to meet the participation goals for. They're currently, the city set these at 13% minority business, 4% women business enterprise, 25% small business, 8% emerging business, and 3% disabled veterans business. And finally, the status of the funding. Our projects, our tasks are based on a specific source of funds attached to it. So there is no actual funding associated with this contract or release of this RFQ.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Forcier. To clarify, your existing list expires in December of next year. So what do you think the timeline is for completing the new list?
We ideally would like to have it implemented or the contracts executed by the time that list expires.
Okay, great. Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you. Ethan, thank you for the report. Couple of questions. You know, out of the current contract that we're in that expires in December 2017, there are about 10 firms on that list?
There are 15 right now. And to clarify, 11 of the firms expire in December of 2017. There were 4 firms that were added in April of 2013, and they still have a 5-year term, but the majority of those contracts are going to expire.
Okay. Second question, out of the 15 total that we've had over the period, how many of them have had work?
All of them except for 1.
Okay, so there's 14. So they have been rotated, and we issue tosses to solicit the work, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and that moving forward, that BAVN is going to be the portal by which everybody finds out about the opportunities, correct?
Yes.
Great, thank you, sir.
Do I hear a motion on agenda item number 1? Moved by Commissioner Jacinto, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objections to sending this forthwith? Okay, item approved will be sent forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Forcier.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 2, Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Contract Administration. Recommending that the board, number 1, approve and forward this report with transmittals to the mayor and city council requesting the following. A, approve amendment number 2, increasing the total contract term from 8 years to 13 years to each of the contracts between the City of LA and the following 11 firms: AECOM Technical Services Incorporated, Calvin R. Abe and Associates Incorporated, DBE Landscape Architects, David Evans and Associates Incorporated, David Voles Design Landscape Architects Incorporated, MLA Green Incorporated, DBA Mia Lehrer and Associates, Northeast Trees, Nuvis, RJM Design Group Incorporated, RRM Design Group, Troller Mayer Associates Incorporated, Withers and Sandgren Limited. B, authorize the President or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute Amendment Number 2 for each of the 11 contracts identified above. We have Mark Nakata from the Bureau of Engineering.
Thank you. The Bureau of Engineering Architectural Division does recommend a 5-year time extension for these 11 on-call landscape architectural consultant contracts. We currently have, out of the 11 contracts, we currently have 4 consultants involved in active task orders that will need to be completed beyond the expiration date of the current contract, Amendment Number 1, which expires this Sunday, September 4th. For the critical projects that we need completed during this time phase is 2 from Calvin Abe and Associates, the West Wilshire Pan Pacific Park, which is currently in the bid and award stage, and the Alpine Recreation Center, which is currently near the end of design. In addition to that, we just made an announcement for MLA Green, Mia Lehrer and Associates, the award for the design of the First and Broadway Park project, which is a very critical project for the Bureau of Engineering. The time extension will enable these firms to continue work on these projects, and if operational needs require additional landscape architectural work, we'll have the flexibility to issue task order solicitations using this list. As in terms of the MBE, WBE, OBE participation levels, for Calvin Abe, the utilization to this point has been minority business enterprises at 19%, women business enterprises at 16%. This is above their pledged levels of MBE 16%, WBE 13%. And for MLO Green, the current utilization for the sole minority business enterprise has been 9.9%, and the pledge level has been 27% for the LA River Park project. When we anticipate going before your board again to award the First and Broadway Park project. That will substantially increase MLA Green's subconsultant pledge levels. That's about it if you have any questions.
I have a question. Does all of our park design work go out to this list?
No. First of all, we have an outstanding in-house design staff within the architectural division, and they handle the bulk of the work. And we have various consultant lists within the Bureau of Engineering. For example, we have a architectural services list that has 20 on-call architectural consultants, and under the new business inclusion program, part of the scope of work for that particular list was to bring on board landscape architectural consultants as well. And for many projects that have a component of, let's say, a building gymnasium as well as landscaping component, we will choose to issue a task order solicitation against the architectural list, given that it's a more complicated program. So we do have a lot of options, but we still believe that the landscape architectural list is still critical to our operational needs.
So these, the projects that go out to this list are the ones that are primarily
Park, open space,
as opposed to...
in general, yes.
I was confused by the First and Broadway because I know there is a couple of structures on that park that were part of the proposal or part of the requirements.
There is a restaurant building and other structures, but this was a unique project in that we had a design competition where we issued a task order solicitation to both the architectural list as well as the landscape list, and we had 4 finalists, 2 from the architectural list and 2 from the landscape architectural list, and through the competition and the review of the conceptual designs, the team that, the review panel that selected made a recommendation that Mia Lairs had the best design, and therefore we opted to select that firm for this particular project, and they did have to go and do some outreach in order to get some sub-consultants to help them with the building component.
Okay, that makes sense. I definitely appreciated the process you guys went through for that park. I think it was a good way to engage people, and I enjoyed seeing the models in the rotunda. You know, we talked on Wednesday, Mr. Drucker, as part of his oral report, talked about that these extensions, the request to extend was going to be coming to us. We talked a little bit about the logic of maintaining a separate landscape architectural list, even though we don't ultimately have that much work, but that it was a better deal for us rather than going through an architectural list and having them take a cut and then subbing it out. So it makes sense to me. That said, we don't have enough work. We haven't, not all of the folks on this list have even gotten something. A lot of them have not. And to me, it makes sense to extend rather than having everybody go through the trouble of reapplying when, you know, the work that we do have to put out is not significant. I mean, it's good, but it's not, you know, enough to get, well, I'll stop there. But thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Yeah,
Commissioner Davis?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, yes, that does make sense operationally. Now, in terms of the future, as we get involved in contractors in this area, will Bavin be a part of it in the future?
I think we would have to assess whether the task order solicitations, if they're going to be issued in the future, would just be posted on the Bavin system, just to give, I guess, transparency in the process, that it will show the landscape architectural profession what types of work we're looking for. So in the event that there are future opportunities for a new list or a new RFQ, they'll have a gauge on the types of projects. So that might be helpful.
Good, and I appreciate our effort towards framing the inclusion here, and I do realize that unlike some areas, that the availability of opportunity is not as great as we would like for it to be. But I do think that what you have done in terms of the framework of inclusion is critically important. So I thank you for that effort.
Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you. Mark, thank you for the report. I know that we're at the last minute, and so we had talked about this in our briefing, and I want to encourage and support our bureau staff and any of our bureaus when we're getting ready and contracts are about at the end and we're at the last minute, and to engage the board in a process of supporting you and helping you to facilitate so we can continue to do business. We don't want to obviously lapse and not have contracts renewed because of administrative challenges and opportunities. So I'll note that, and thank you folks for hustling to get this before us today.
Thank you very much. I mean, we'll start the process earlier than we did this time, and hopefully future things will run more smoothly.
Is that a motion? Okay. Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any reason not to send forthwith? Okay. The item is approved and will be sent forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Executive Officer, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then this meeting is adjourned. There will not be a management meeting this morning, and I wish you all a happy Labor Day. Thank you.